how exactly do you go from hola, ¿cómo estás? To
¿Qué tranza, carnal? Pues de lo mío, dame la luz. Dímelo, papi, ¿qué la que hay?
in other words, how do you go from Spanish 101 to speaking elite Spanish? I figured it out, so let me share my 5 easy tips with you in this video, but you want to make sure to stick around for the 5th one, because if you don't, then this whole video is pretty much irrelevant to you. Entonces, let's get right into it. ¿Qué es lo que mi gente? Yo soy Ricky de Bilingüe Vlogs. I am a native of Chicago, 100% English speaking family, but I learned to speak Spanish on my own. It's my pleasure and my passion to teach you how to speak Spanish like a native. So your Spanish might be okay. Your Spanish might be good. Your Spanish might even be great, but there's always phrases like we saw in the beginning. I was telling my girlfriend today with tener que, I have to do this, to have to do something. A native might say tener que, that's fine, but we could also say me toca hacer algo. So how do we get to that native level, that native phrasing? Let me show you how right now. The first way is by analyzing comments, Instagram comments, TikTok comments, YouTube comments. You guys are sleeping on a gold mine if you're not using these to advance your Spanish. I know I'm giving you the title of how to do it, but if I don't show you how to do it, you'll be lost. So let's go to Instagram and TikTok together, and we can analyze some comments together. Let's look at this first video. Now this video is kind of silly, but it doesn't matter what the topic is about. You can use the video to learn, better to sharpen your ear when you're speaking, when you're learning Spanish. You can learn new phrases through what they say. That's primarily how you want to do it. But also the comments, they have gold in them. So let's check it out. Let's see what this video is about.
¿Es tu carro?
Sí,
¿Eres gay?
no.
Es que este es un estacionamiento solamente para gente gay.
Anda, ¿desde cuándo?
Sí, mira, como puedes ver en el letrero que está acá,
Ah, caramba, mucho. No sabía.
estacionamiento solo para gays, entonces voy a tener que ponerte una pequeña multa. Es pequeña nomás. A menos que confieses que eres gay.
Bueno, ya. Pues,
Qué risa, qué risa.
Así que,
Sí, soy gay.
¿eres gay?
Sí.
Una locura. So you guys can watch the video on your spare time. This video is not a scroll with me video. We have those if you want to check those out. They're up here. But this is I'm teaching you how to do it. So we're not going to watch the whole video. We're here to see the comments. All right. So how do you want to do this? You want to look for stuff that you don't know what it means. Or maybe you know some of the words, but they're not making sense the way that you think they will make sense. If it doesn't make sense the way you think that it will make sense, then it probably is a phrase that you should look up. It's probably a native colloquial phrase that you should know how to say in Spanish if you want to do this. This video here is particularly Mexican, so you can do it with the content that you want to do. If you're learning Dominican Spanish, Puerto Rican Spanish, Mexican, Colombian, whatever Spanish you're looking to learn, you can keep that in mind as you go through this content. But at the end of the day, Spanish is Spanish. We do speak universally the same language. It's just there's certain words and dialects that may make things a tad bit different, but it's the base is the same. We understand each other. So let's get to this one. En cada pregunta se volvía más gay. Entonces, se volvía. What does that mean? Volver, it means to return. But se volvía, he returned more. No, it doesn't mean that. So that's a perfect example for something that you can look up. You can look up that phrase. What does that mean? Now, I speak Spanish, so I know what it means. Volverse means to become something, to turn more something. Volverse más algo, to turn more something, or to become more something. Entonces, you can use that, write it down in your Spanish like a native planner. That's what this is for, to learn new phrases, new words. You want to write it down in your book. And that's how you will go about that. So we have that one there. Cada vez, en cada pregunta se volvía más gay, ¿verdad? Comenzó actuando y luego ya fluyó. So if you're not understanding what they're saying here, that's your cue to look these things up. I wouldn't speak like that. Well, of course you wouldn't speak like that because you don't know to speak like that. But once you know it, you can incorporate it into how you speak Spanish. So let's look at another video. Aquí tenemos TikTok.
El boricua no dice a lo loco. El boricua dice, acho, estás al garete. El boricua no dice, tira eso a la basura. El boricua dice, tira eso al zafacón. El boricua no dice, eso está divertido. El boricua dice, acho, eso está bien rufiado. Eso está brutal.
Okay, entonces, like I said, we're not going to watch the whole video. We're here to analyze the comments, but I wanted to give you guys a little taste. Entonces, mira, this is a gold mine. You're learning so much Puerto Rican phrases in the video, but then the comments will help you out. And that's the beautiful thing about the comments. They come from real people, so they speak how they speak. But this here, since it's a Boricua like phrase video, there's so much help in the comments. Let's look at a few. Entonces, embustero. Embustero means mentiroso, means liar en español. In Puerto Rican Spanish, embustero. We even say it in Dominican Spanish as well. Pero another word, we just learned it right here. También se le dice paquetero. Paquetero puede ser mentiroso en Puerto Rico también. How do we learn that? Through the comments. So you are to apply that. You got to apply that when you're speaking. Like if somebody's lying to you, you can say, oh, tú eres paquetero. Tú eres paquetero. O tú eres embustero. Whatever you want to say. You have to incorporate it into how you're speaking. Okay? Entonces, let's see the next one. El boricua no dice estoy lleno. El boricua dice estoy empachado. Estoy harto. So instead of saying I'm full, the standard way, the Spanish 101 way, estoy lleno, we have estoy empachado, estoy harto. That's the same expression, but it's elite level, you know? Entonces, mi gente, go through your content like this. Don't just watch it and scroll. We're not, like, when you're learning a language, that is a huge tool. Social media is a huge tool for you to learn the language that you want to learn. Many people just use it to doom scroll, to escape, whatever. But as a language learner, as somebody who just loves education, loves history, I try to use it in that way. Of course, I have my moments where I'm just scrolling too. Of course, I'm not saying that that is not, okay to do that as well. But since you are learning a language and you want to make it a lifestyle and you want to speak like a native because you're here watching this video, you should follow these steps. I put this as number one because anybody can do it. You don't have to have a trained ear to read this stuff. You do have to have some knowledge of Spanish. And if you don't have any knowledge of Spanish, this is a good way to get some knowledge of Spanish. That's why it's number one. I wanted to lead the video with this one. Tip number two would be to listen to authentic Spanish conversations. Now, if you don't have Spanish speakers around you, that is still no excuse for you because it's 2026. We have so much technology. So you can listen to whatever conversation you want, whether that's people at the Mexican restaurant, whether you live in a heavy Spanish-speaking place in the United States or another country. Eavesdrop a little bit. We say comer boca. Tú puedes comer boca in the Dominican Spanish. But you can also use your movies. You can use your series. You can use your podcasts, your interviews. Entonces, let me give you an example here. We have a Mexican movie here called El Infierno. El Infierno. And here's a phrase that I thought you guys may be able to learn through this. So listen to how this lady says something.
Si yo fui amigo de su hijo, el Beto, con razón tu cara se me hacía conocida. ¿Y dónde anda el Beto?
Una vez más, escúchalo. Now this is where you train your hearing, but you're also going to want to write it down in your Spanish like a native planner when you hear these phrases that stand out to you that you have no clue what they're saying. Gone are the days where you are always like, I don't know what they said, I'm going to skip past it. No, pause. This is your learning resource. I know it's a movie. You may not want to pause it. You may want to watch it all the way through. But if you don't understand, then what are you doing? Pause it, go back, listen to it again, and at least write it down. At least write down what you think you heard. Put the subtitles on and find out what they said, something.
Con razón tu cara se me hacía conocida.
Okay, con razón. Tu cara se me hacía conocida. Entonces, basically, she's like, oh, you're right. Your face did look familiar to me. But there's a lot of ways to say that. There's a lot of Spanish 101 ways to say that. Sí, tú sí me parecías familiar. O sí, yo pensaba que te conocía. Even more basic ways than that can be said. But this is that elite way, and you want to speak elite Spanish. Entonces, we're going to rob it. We're going to steal the phrase. You steal the phrases that you like, that you can use, that can be useful to you. Let's look at another one. Esta es una entrevista con Ozuna y Molusco.
Tú eres, papi, por eso es que yo me encojono contigo.
¿Por
Porque,
qué te molestas conmigo?
cabrón, por eso, porque digo, espérate, mami, hombre, yo tengo que ser artista porque esta es la vuelta y esa.
Okay, a lot of good words, a lot of good phrases there. You probably didn't understand them all because, like I said, this is good. This is good for training your ears, but it's also good for picking up phrases. So let me help you pick out a few.
Tú eres, papi, por eso es que yo me encojono contigo.
Okay, es por eso que me encojono contigo. You may say, es por eso que estoy enojado contigo. But there's a lot of ways to talk about anger in Spanish. In Puerto Rico, encojonarse, encabronarse. Estoy encabronado. Estoy encojonado. Estoy enfadado. Hay muchas formas de decir to be mad at somebody, but you might just know, estoy enojada, estoy enojado, y ya. But to take it to that elite level, listen to conversations, figure out what stuff means, maybe by listening to the context, by looking it up, which I'm going to show you some good ways to look things up. You know, I'm not going to leave you hanging, pero that's a good one. Por eso me enojo contigo. Okay. All right. The next one is my favorite way to learn. This is actually how I started learning Spanish when I was 12 years old. Actually, I started listening to Spanish music before I was 12, but I took an interest in figuring out what they were saying when I was 12. And that's where my Spanish learning journey started, with me being active, like with learning. Yo empecé con el reggaetón, empecé con la bachata. I started with reggaetón y bachata, but I also liked Mexican music too, specifically banda, because that's what I grew up around. So what do you do here? The same thing I've been saying the whole time. When you hear a phrase that either you don't know what they're saying, maybe you can't make out the word, because in Puerto Rican music, that was my biggest struggle. I couldn't make out the word that they were saying, but I had to put the sounds together. Or maybe you know the words, but you don't understand the context because it's being used in a phrase. Then we got to figure out what it means. So let's listen to some songs real quick. Vamos a escuchar un par de canciones. The first one, El Teléfono por Héctor El Father. I have the lyric version up because we're learning. This is not, you know, we're not watching music videos, we're learning. Entonces, vamos a hacer esto. Escúchalo.
Hace mucho tiempo que te quiero ver.
Busco la manera de tu cuerpo tener. Okay, entonces, let's go back.
Hace mucho tiempo que te quiero ver. Busco la manera de tu cuerpo tener.
Okay, that first phrase, he started off strong. The song's called El Teléfono, but the first line is, Hace mucho tiempo que te quiero ver. What does that even mean? This is not just a phrase, it's a formula. This is a formula. And when you look this up, you'll find that it's a formula. So with something like this, you don't want to, I just sing it for years. I had no clue what it meant. But then when I was actually studying, I'm like, oh, this is like how to talk about how long it's been that something's happened. Hace mucho tiempo que te quiero ver. It's been a long time since I've been wanting to see you, or it's been a long time that I've been wanting to see you. Or in layman's terms, I've been wanting to see you for a long time. That's how we would say it more naturally in Spanish. I've been wanting to see you for a long time. But we use this format to do it. How did I know that? I listened to stuff like this and I dissected it. I had to look it up. Back then, we didn't have ChatGPT. We didn't have, SpanishDict.com. We didn't have all these other resources. So I had to, piece it together on Google and with my grammar books, my vocabulary books. But you are in a much better spot to learn this stuff faster than I did. So use it. Use what you have. Usa lo que tú tienes para elevar tu español. Tú sabes. Entonces, hace, and then your time frame, and then que, and then the present tense. That's the formula. Hace una hora que te espero. I've been waiting for you for an hour. Or, it's been an hour since I've been waiting for you. Algo así. Okay? Muy bien. Canción número 2. This one I love. This was my song for a long time. Chimbita por Faith.
Hola amor, ¿cómo estás? ¿Por qué tan perdido pues? Cuando invitan a parchar a Miami con el pecho.
Okay. She said, ¿por qué tan perdido pues? Very cultural in Medellín, Colombia, to add that pues at the end. ¿Por qué tan perdido pues? But what does that mean? Why are you so lost? Well, no, it's just pues is what they say at the end of their phrases. In Colombia, just like le, they'd be adding le to everything in Mexico. Córrele, ándale, órale, all those different things, right? Entonces, they say pues a lot in Colombia just because. Typically it means well, but here it doesn't really mean anything. Pero, ¿por qué tan perdido? Why are you so lost? Is that really what she's saying? Kind of, but it's really how we would say it in English is, why are you been so MIA? But maybe you would say, no te he visto por mucho tiempo. No te he visto por mucho tiempo. That's Spanish 101. Pero no, in elite Spanish, we'd be talking about people being MIA. Oye, ¿tú estás perdido? ¿Tú estás perdido? Hola, perdida. Ok, cosas así. Entonces, usa la música, mi gente. All right, guys, número 4. Número 4. This one is how you string everything together. I keep talking to you guys about looking things up. No more Google Translate, okay? That does a mediocre job. And it doesn't teach you how to speak Spanish con flow, like at that elite level. It can help with some things, maybe a word here or there, but phrases, I wouldn't trust Google Translate with that. I would trust Spanish Dict for singular words. I like word reference too. I didn't put it here. I don't have a tab open for it, but SpanishDict.com, Spanish Dictionary. This is good because it shows you the word. So let's do muddy. Muddy, right? Describing something. Embarrado. Let's listen to how it sounds.
Embarrado.
Embarrado.
Barrado.
Muy bien. Entonces, Spanish dict is good for your singular words. Look, you can put it in the context here. You can see other words that fit that description. You know, I mean, it can be a little overwhelming if you read all these. I would say start with the top ones, guys. Start with the top ones. Pick one from there. Choose that word. And also, look at the examples. Mira los ejemplos. It's always good to learn through examples. So you can read these here. What does it mean in English? What does it mean in Spanish? You can listen to how it's pronounced. Y cosas así. Spanish Dict is one of the best resources that I would use to learn words that you hear in the songs, words that you hear in the conversations. Y cosas así. This is like more of a standard Spanish thing, so keep that in mind. Okay, el siguiente recurso, mi gente, sería deep L. All right, I already got a phrase here loaded for you because I wanted to see if it's gotten any better since when I used to use it when I was learning Spanish, and it has gotten better. This phrase, this food is bussin'. Esta comida está para chuparse los dedos. Perfect. That's actually how I would say it. That's how I would say it. Para chuparse los dedos means like finger licking good. Like it's to suck on your fingers. Pero it means like finger licking good. Pero that's what bussin' means. This food is so delicious. It's so good. Entonces, you're looking for a phrase that you hear in a song? Deep L is great for that. Deep L. Okay? Entonces, you can switch the languages if you want, because you want to know what it's saying. So you can switch the languages, put your Spanish phrase that you heard or what you think you heard in here, and then make it translated to English. You see it changed a little bit, but it doesn't matter. It's still the same idea. They're probably not going to have the most slang English version here, right? Pero it still works. This meal is absolutely delicious. This food is bussin'. Same thing. These are great for standard Spanish. This is good for Spanish in general. But if you are listening to a song from a certain region, these resources may not have them at this point. So that's when our ChatGPT comes in. That's when Google Gemini comes in. But I like ChatGPT more than Gemini. I think because I pay for it, and it's never. It's not that it's never failed me. It's not 100% correct. So you always want to verify. Pero it's really good. It's really good for regional stuff. Entonces, por ejemplo, si yo quiero decir, I heard al garete in a Puerto Rican song. Oh, I typed that all wrong, but don't worry about what I typed out. Okay, entonces it tells you here, it gives you what it means, it gives you examples y cosas así. Entonces es súper bueno to fit things to their region. So if you have a question about a regional phrase, a regional slang word that you can't find in the other resources, go to ChatGPT. I don't say start with ChatGPT because ChatGPT was not made for Spanish. The other ones were made for Spanish and language learning. And ChatGPT can be faulty. It may tell you, oh yeah, this is normal. But then you go use it in real life and they're like, we don't say that at all. Or we don't say that in this region. You know, cosas así. So you gotta really think about what you're talking about, verify it, fact check it with somebody from that place, para que tú sepa cómo funciona la vaina. We have one more step that made me speak like a native speaker, made me speak elite level Spanish, instead of Spanish 101 type of things. And that was, drum roll, to speak. If you want to speak better, you have to speak more. If you want to speak Spanish, you got to speak Spanish. If you want to gain bicep, but you keep doing squats all day, are your biceps going to grow? No. Your legs are going to grow. Your glutes are going to grow. But that has no effects on your biceps. Besides when you're like lifting the weights to put it on the bar. Entonces, if you want to speak Spanish better, why are you only consuming Spanish? The things that I gave you were to consume it, but you have to apply it. How could you apply this? You can start by speaking to yourself, role play in your head. Role play. What would you say in this situation? Think about it. Okay, un tipo me empuja y después yo lo empujo para atrás. Y es como que, oh, tú estás a garete. Como que like you out of control. Like apply it right then and right there. Tú sabes. Speak to yourself though. Use it. That's the most comfortable place to start because nobody's judging you. Nobody's laughing at you. Y cosas así. Start there. To take it a notch above that, use somebody or AI to talk to. Have them role play the situation out for you. Instead of it just being in your head, have somebody actually speaking to you. And so that way you can respond in the correct way. If you were not aware, Bilingüe Blogs actually has a new development called the Spanish Room. This is your personal space to speak Spanish. You're tired of consuming it. You're tired of being able to say, I understand more than I speak. If that's you, come onto the Spanish Room. We're going to be doing 2 live weekly events every single week. And the difference between this platform and YouTube, because I go live on YouTube sometimes, the difference is that you can speak to me in real time with your voice. I don't want you typing out, oh, I think this about this, I think this about this. I want you speaking to me. You can still type if you want, but speak. Get it out of your head, out of your mouth, because we all know we've been in those situations where we know exactly what we want to say, but then we try to say it and we chop it up. It's horrible. It comes out wrong. Entonces, if you want to get better at that, join a community, because you've been trying to do it on your own and it has not been working very well. So come with like-minded people to the Spanish Room. We're going to be doing, like I said, those 2 weekly live events. I'm going to make them fun. We're going to have themes that we're going to talk about. You're going to learn Spanish naturally, but you're also going to speak Spanish. That's the main goal, is for you to speak Spanish. And also, this is where I'm going to be hosting all of my courses, all of my content that is private, courses, mini courses. Like right now, I'm focusing on the lo versus le versus se mini course. We're going to be doing the imperfect versus the preterite mini course, ser versus estar mini course. We're going to go in depth and give you the tools you need to fully understand these things. Por versus para. Any of those things that are pain points for you guys, we're attacking them strong, but also all my master courses are going to be there as well. Entonces, I want to invite you to the Spanish Room. You get a free trial, 7-day free trial. So if you sign up ahora mismo, aquí mismo, mi gente, it's $24 per month for the first 50, and then $32 per month, but it's great value. Literally everything that I'm going to be doing, you have access to. There's no tiers, none of that stuff. It's just all Spanish learning resources and a place for you to speak and implement those resources that are going to help you to grow as a Spanish speaker. Entonces, si eso te interesa, come join us. Pero sí, that's it for today's video. If you liked it, if you want more content like this, if you found this helpful in any way, interact. Comment down below, share it, thumbs up, hype it up. However you want to interact, do that, because it helps me out tremendously. And we want to keep growing here. We want to keep spreading the Spanish joy. Tú sabes que es lo que es, mi gente. Entonces, hasta aquí el video de hoy y nos fuimos.